Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Shabbat class. We're closing out the Sabbath, 15th of February 2025. Okay. Or what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be bouncing off of the conversation we had this morning, and it was wanting to go back and read all of chapter 20 from the book of Adam and Eve because it's very important based on all the information that was divulged this morning. I just want to read that complete chapter, just let it sink in. Okay. So with that being said, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out the videos that we have on there. We have over 1,000 or so videos, a lot of information that you can digest. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving on the channel, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know, and it'd be greatly appreciated. And if you feel the need to support the channel and help it move along, we have a cash app that's at the bottom of the screen. That too will be appreciated. Okay, and hours that we're live for Prophets of Awakening is Tuesday and Wednesday, 7 to 9 Central Time p.m. Friday, we at 7 to 9 for our men's advanced Bible study. Then we have two Shabbat classes, one in the morning, 10 to 12 a.m. Then we come and close out the Sabbath in the evening from 6 to 7, but about normally an hour or so. And then we have our our Sunday evening Bible study, advanced Bible study. It starts at 5, and normally that runs about an hour, no more than an hour and a half. So any of those times you feel the need to come in and engage with us, you're welcome. Okay. Uh, this is the non-Messianic channel. For those that don't know, we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, were given to Moses by our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay. Shalom and welcome to this channel. Okay, welcome to our evening Shabbat class. Okay. I forgot to tell you, I wanted to make sure to make a point to let everybody know that we have a women's advanced Bible study too. It's every Thursday, right? But it's on our sister channel, which is Israel Wake Up. So if you heard about it, it's not on Prophets of Awakening. You have to go to Israel Wake Up on Thursdays at 7. If you want to listen in or engage. Okay. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, evening Shabbat prayer. We got songs. We do some current events, some need to know information. And then I'll open it up for some questions or comments for anybody in the dialogue. And then, like I said, we'll be dealing with chapter 20 out of it's the second book of Adam and Eve, right? Inside of the book of Adam and Eve, but I'm reading out of the second book, which is I'm reading the last chapter of the second book, which is chapter 20. It's got a lot of information in it. A lot of dots can be connected when you write it about it. Okay. Then we'll pick a scripture, and at the end, read it, and then we'll break it down for application. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts, and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. O Lord, we pray unto the Lord our God. We make our confessions, O Lord, great and dreadful God, keep it covenant, and mercy to them that love thee, and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah, and unto the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are afar off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass, that we have trespassed against thee. O Lord, hear this prayer, cause thy face to shine upon thy people for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline your ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do, and defer not, for your own sake. For your people need you desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, I'll read a song. Okay. I'll read Psalm 30. It's Thanksgiving for deliverance from death. It's a psalm of David for the house of David. I will extol thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. O Lord God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive. I shall not go down into the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks, say, at the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endures but a moment. In his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. Lord, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain stand strong, and thou didst hide thy face when I was troubled. I cried to thee, O Lord, and unto the Lord I made my supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down into the pit? Shall the just praise thee? Shall I declare thy truth? Hear, O Lord, and have mercy upon me. Lord, be thou my helper. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, to an end that thy glory may sing praises to thee, and not be silent, O Lord, my God, and I will give thanks unto thee forever. Okay. Any comments on that song? So we see, like I was reading from the other night about what Elon Musk discovered about how the Lord of Hosts works and how everything works in cycles, and it's all revolving around his people, the children of Israel. We see right here in this psalm the same thing. He comes, he passes judgment on us. We go into captivity, then he comes and brings us out of captivity. He put a joy in our spirit and put a step in our walk. This is a mad cycle. Okay, all because of we stiff-necked and rebellious, and not being consistent with him. We keep going in and out. So we see this mad cycle of judgment and then reconciliation, judgment, reconciliation, keep happening over and over again. Okay, and not only do it affect us, it affects the whole world. So yeah. Any comments, questions on that?
No, sir.
We go to our current event.
So layoffs are happening, and layoffs are actually targeting the largest U.S. cities first, and the cities that are being targeted the most. Okay, these are the ones that get the most tourists. And I know a lot of people are saying, "Well, I'm not seeing a lot of changes in my area. I'm not seeing a lot of people being laid off." The truth is, it's happening, and it's happening as we speak. It's happening in New York City. It's happening in Chicago. It's happening in Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Miami, Dallas, Houston, even here in Las Vegas. Now, since the last time I was here in Las Vegas, just a handful of months ago, we're seeing prices change. Prices for food changing. Prices for things like vehicles, for rentals, changing. This vehicle that I'm in right now, it's less today than it was several months ago. And compared to last year, it's quite a bit less. Even the two-bedroom suite that I'm staying at, it's less. Okay, it's about $80 per night less today than it was last year. Changes are happening. But I want to read a few things to you. Why are these layoffs going to hit U.S. cities first? Well, it's because of tourism. It's because of the cost of housing. It's because of tech jobs leaving the area, people moving out of the United States, whether it's because they're just trying to just give up their U.S. citizenship. They don't want to deal with the taxes. They don't like the politics, whatever it may be. Or there's a lot of issues regarding ICE raids and deportations. Now, I'm not getting that today, but we've seen it in Los Angeles. We've seen it in the Seattle area, where food vendors are not showing up to their street corners that they used to work. They're not going there. You go down to Pike Place Market in Seattle, and you don't see the normal people. You don't see the people selling the tamales and the people selling the raspados and things like that. You don't see it. They're gone. Now, yes, there's still some. They still have the main vendors, but the majority aren't there. Now, that's just regarding deportations. Here's where things are getting interesting. You look at Los Angeles, for example. Sports vendors, they're not outside the arenas like they used to. Whether it's down, for a Laker game, does it for a Dodgers game? It could be for anything. A Rams game, right? Major changes are happening. You look in New York City, congestion pricing, that's hurting the many vendors. That's hurting many small businesses. Small businesses are the ones that are struggling. The large corporations, they're doing just fine. They can weather the storm. They've made the changes. And I told you this, 2 years ago? I told this a year ago as well, that what we are about to see was a massive shift. We're going to see a shift away from these large corporations that hiring people. And you still see it. The companies still say we're hiring, looking for workers, right? Here in Las Vegas, you see it all the time. Okay. Just from what I've seen, see several businesses that say now hiring. Okay. Acquire within. But then you look on the news and nobody's hiring. People aren't hiring. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get you in the door, trying to get you excited about a potential job opportunity and tell you just to hold on, just wait. Just drop it off right at the airport, pick it up. Within minutes, I'm gone. Things are different now, where now there's a lot more competition as far as cars, which means more competition usually means there's more supply. The demand's the same, that means prices go down. Okay. Well, prices did go down. Last year, I think for a vehicle very similar to this one, I think I paid probably like $109 a day, for a newer vehicle. This one came out to about $71 a day. Huge difference. $30 a day. Okay, massive difference. You look at the place where I'm staying.
Okay. Any comments on that? Anybody seeing signs of that around them in the area?
Shalom. Not so much as me seeing it, but it also states that last year in 2024, at the same time, around the same time, they have laid off at least 2,500 techs. And, 34,000 in January of 2024. And this year, there's 2,500 techs. And Mark Zuckerberg says that it's usually they do that in order to bring in, back revenue that he displays. But he feels that it's going to level off within the middle of the year. The months to come, it's going to level off. I understand the gentleman is getting, and this was 6 hours ago that I'm reading on U.S. Today. Now, U.S. Today is putting this out, but the other news tabloids probably put out something a little different. But this was 6 hours ago that Mark Zipperman made, if I'm saying his name correctly, made that statement.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I wanted to say shout out to Coffee. What's up with you? I ain't seen you in a minute. How you doing? Okay. We go to the next one.
have the honor to invite His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, to deliver his statement. Your Excellency.
Monsieur le Président de l'Union africaine, Excellences, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. President Mohamed Ould Ghazouani, thank you for your leadership in the outstanding exercise of your mandate. Presidente João Lourenço, parabéns e aguardo com expectativa a oportunidade de trabalhar consigo como novo presidente da União Africana. I also want to give a very special expression of gratitude to the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki, for his 8 years of strong and permanent commitment to multilateralism and impeccable cooperation with the United Nations. Cher Moussa, travailler avec toi est un privilège, un plaisir et un honneur. Excellencies, the partnership between the African Union and the United Nations has never been stronger. Together, we see an Africa booming with hope and possibility. You have a booming, enterprising population, including the largest number of young people in the world. The African continental free trade is poised to turbocharge the region's economy, and calls to address the legacies of colonialism and slavery are growing louder, as reflected in your team this year, and as reflected in the leadership of so many passionate voices for the liberation of Africa, such as the great Dr. Sam Nujoma of Namibia, whose life we celebrate and whose loss we mourn. The world must never forget that Africa is the victim of 2 colossal and compounded injustices. First, the profound impact of colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade. The roots stretch back centuries, and the bitter fruit continues to affect Africans and people of African descent to this day. Decolonization alone in itself was not a panacea. Political independence did not free countries from structures based on exploitation and decades of economic, social, and institutional underinvestments. It is high time for reparatory justice frameworks to be put in place. Second, Africa was under colonial domination when today's multilateral system was created, and that injustice endures. Look no further than the United Nations Security Council. There is no excuse that Africa still lacks permanent representation in the 21st century. I will keep working with the African Union and all member states to ensure the representation Africa needs and the justice you deserve, including with 2 permanent members of the Security Council. And we will keep pressing together for an international financial architecture that is no longer outdated, dysfunctional, and unfair. Correcting age-old injustices is essential to address here and now challenges. And the good news is that we have many of the solutions we need. Last year, you helped drive that effort at the United Nations with the Pact for the Future. And I thank Africa for its support that was vital to approve the Pact. Our task now is to make those commitments a reality. South Africa's G20 chairmanship could not come at a better time. Bound to the bottom of value chains as others grow rich on your resources. The work of the United Nations panel on critical energy transition minerals is designed to help embed justice, sustainability, and human rights across the value chain. Africa's minerals must benefit Africa's people. Excellences, enfin, nous devons agir dans le domaine des nouvelles technologies, notamment l'intelligence artificielle. Près de 2/3 de la population africaine sont privés d'un accès fiable à l'Internet. Nous avons une responsabilité historique, faire en sorte que l'intelligence artificielle profite à l'humain.
So that's the UN Secretary, and it sounds like to me, it's Isaiah chapter 60, what he proclaimed. Okay, anybody got any comments on that? This is at the very time when the West was trying to sabotage Africa. This man right here at the UN is reconciling Africa and compensating. Okay. So with that being said, I got some need to know information. Then I open up for some Q&A. Okay.
Transport infrastructure in West Africa was designed to serve colonial interests, connecting resource-rich areas to ports for export to Europe, rather than fostering regional trade and mobility. This new initiative aims to correct that historical injustice by prioritizing intra-African connectivity. Just imagine, whilst Mali is linked to Senegal by rail and Burkina Faso is connected to Ivory Coast, there is no railway connecting Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger until now. Even the existing railways do not carry passengers between neighboring African states, a major limitation that this new project seeks to eliminate. The ultimate vision of the AES is not just economic cooperation, but full integration into a single federal entity. This vision was first discussed by their foreign ministers in late 2023, and with these infrastructure projects, it is now being put into action. Many skeptics wonder, how can Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger afford such colossal infrastructure projects, given that they are under international sanctions? To answer this, we must look back to January 28, 2024, when the three nations officially announced their withdrawal from ECOWAS. In a historic joint statement, the military leaders of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger simultaneously broadcast their decision on national television, declaring, "We have decided in complete sovereignty on the immediate withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS." They accused ECOWAS of betraying its founding principles and abandoning the interests of the African people, becoming a tool of foreign powers, particularly France and its European allies, imposing inhumane sanctions to punish them for removing pro-Western puppet regimes. ECOWAS, in response, downplayed the move, claiming that withdrawal procedures take up to 1 year. However, the three nations had already made up their minds. They were not merely leaving ECOWAS, they were building an alternative. After quitting ECOWAS, the three countries formalized their alliance by signing the Liptako-Gourma Charter, creating the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. The Liptako-Gourma region, where the borders of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger meet, has long been plagued by terrorism, exacerbated by weak governance under pro-Western regimes. The new alliance was designed to establish a collective defense system. Any attack on one AES member would be considered an attack on all, triggering a joint military response. Strengthen economic ties. The alliance is not just military, it also includes economic cooperation to reduce dependency on Western institutions like the IMF and World Bank. Move towards full sovereignty. By cutting ties with France and other European powers, the AES nations are taking control of their own natural resources, banking systems, and economic policies. The formation of the AES led to a complete restructuring of their international alliances. All military ties with France were severed. Colonial-era economic agreements were terminated. New partnerships were formed with Russia, China, and other multipolar powers. Schemes. Traoré's vision for agricultural transformation extends beyond just food processing. His administration has implemented large-scale distribution of modern farming equipment, significantly boosting productivity across the nation. In the past 2 years alone, the government has provided farmers with 400 tractors to mechanize farming, 953 motorcycles for rural agricultural workers, 710 motor pumps to enhance irrigation, 10,000 tons of fish food to support the aquaculture industry, 68,964 tons of fertilizer to improve soil productivity, 10,000 litres of phytosanitary products to protect crops from pests and diseases. By investing in mechanization and food security, Traoré is positioning Burkina Faso to compete globally, ensuring that its agricultural sector no longer operates at the mercy of foreign suppliers. Recognizing that economic independence is impossible without a strong domestic financial system, Traoré established 2 new national banks. One, the Postal Bank of Burkina Faso, launched with an initial capital of $25.1 million. This bank provides accessible financial services to the population, particularly in rural areas where banking access has historically been limited. 2, the Treasury Deposit Bank. Created to support government financial operations, this bank strengthens Burkina Faso's ability to manage public funds independently, reducing its reliance on foreign financial institutions. Traoré's government has also focused on critical infrastructure projects to support trade, transportation, and economic expansion. Notable projects include expansion of the Bobo Dioulasso Airport, enhancing Burkina Faso's capacity for domestic and international trade. Investments in road networks and public transportation, ensuring improved connectivity across the country. Traoré's leadership is not just about economic reform, it's also about political and cultural sovereignty. He has taken decisive actions to remove the remnants of colonial rule. Mali is on the brink of a historic transformation as it builds the largest gold refinery in West Africa, a monumental project made possible through its deepening strategic partnership with Russia. The new facility, expected to have a refining capacity of at least 200 tons per year, will significantly enhance Mali's control over its own gold production and revenues. Once completed, it will stand among the most advanced and influential gold processing centers in the region, marking a turning point in Mali's economic sovereignty. But the significance of this refinery extends far beyond its sheer size and capacity. It is a symbol of Mali's liberation from neo-colonial exploitation and a move towards genuine financial independence. The stark contrast between France and Mali in terms of gold reserves reveals a troubling reality. France, despite having no gold mines within its own borders, possesses the world's 4th largest gold reserves, totaling 2,436 tons. Meanwhile, Mali, a country blessed with 860 operational gold mines and an annual gold production of approximately 50 tons, astonishingly holds no significant gold reserves in its central bank. This paradox is not a coincidence. It is the direct consequence of France's decades-long colonial and neo-colonial plunder. Under French rule and continued economic manipulation, Mali's gold wealth was systematically extracted and transferred abroad, primarily to benefit France's economy, while Mali itself remained impoverished and deprived of the wealth beneath its own soil.
Okay, so like I said before, we see Isaiah 60 in effect. He says that we're going to transfer the wealth and forces of the Gentiles back to us. We're looking at it. Anybody have any comments on that? Questions or comments?
Shalom. I have being that Russia and China is joining with them. would are they really like looking out for China and Russia does not try to take over or abuse their friendship now?
So far, they haven't. They've been supportive of, especially Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. They've been supportive of them. I mean, they even sending in troops to protect Tory from assassination. So as of right now, they're supporting them. Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions on that? Okay, we'll open it up now for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions from this morning or during the week, or anything they came across they want to talk about it, chop it up?
Shalom. I want to know about the hand positions. I know about holding your hands up and praising, giving praise to the Most High, but the hand, when you pray and you place your hands together, is that part of the Hebrew or the Christian way of praying?
That's Gentiles. So when he says that, he tells Moses, stretch forth thy hands, right? And then we see how they stretch their hands out. So the purpose of that is when you stretch your hands out, you're showing the Creator, you're showing the Lord of hosts that you open to whatever it is He got, and then it's nothing in your hands. I'm open to you. That's the purpose of stretching your hand, or stretching out your hands unto the Creator. Open hands. Submissiveness.
So by doing the hand closing, we should not do that anymore because, I mean, I didn't know. I thought that was something that was traditionally done by everyone, all the religions. So keeping our hands.
I don't see nothing wrong with it, but I mean, it's not. It ain't. I don't think it originated with the Israelites.
Oh,
in our
okay.
culture.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Anybody else got any questions, comments about anything? Anything you want to talk about?
Shalom.
Okay.
Brother Leonard, on that last clip, now France is still being expedited out of Africa.
Yeah. What's left? They pretty much then eliminated any remnants or anything doing with France. Whatever's left there is a small portion. They in the process of rooting that out.
Okay. I don't want to jump conversations, but Trump had made a pitch to Ukraine that they'll get support if they could get the minerals that they have over there. I know they're still taking it out of Africa.
Right. Yeah. He when you look at what's going on with Trump and you look at the what's happening in the world, I mean, he's really a joke, but he's just reaching for straws because of, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's listening to him. You know what I mean? He tried all those sanctions, and now the sanctions and backfired. So that ain't working. Like they just said, they got Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. They got sanctions on them. But look what we see them every day in the news. They steady progressing. They got sanctions on Russia and China, but it ain't working. It didn't play it out. It's to none effect. Yeah. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about? Chop up?
Oh, Shalom. Wasn't Russia trying to get Ukraine's oil and iron and coal from them or their minerals? That land they was trying to take over, or that was something different?
No, Russia is trying to regain that's territory that was already theirs. So they just trying to recoup that land, that part of their country that was taken away back in back in previous years through the West, and Russia just trying to recoup it. That's one. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about it, but Georgia, back in the day, the same thing they just did with when they attacked Ukraine, they attacked Georgia, but it was nothing nobody could do about it. When they looked up, they had brought Georgia back under their fold. So all they doing is trying to recoup lost territory that they lost back in the day. They belong to Russia.
Yes, yes, Shalom. Yes, Brother Leonard, what I found amazing is that all this time they've been looting the land of Africa and they still got resources that is needed all over the world.
Exactly, right. That's a testimony to, like I was saying, all these people coming up with all these crazy ideas, like Israel and the Holy Land is over here. All you have to do is look at Africa, look at the size of Africa, and look where all the minerals and all the riches, the earth's riches are. It's in Africa, so this can't possibly be the Holy Land. And so that's just after all the plundering and pillaging that they've done over there in Africa, it's still loaded to this day. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. I'll play this right here, and then we'll go into. I'll start reading chapter 20 out of the book of Adam and Eve. It's just some need to know information right here, just for golden nugget.
Trump's popularity is a quagmire, which is French for what the F is going on. While his fans were worshiping him, the rest of us wondered if someone had piped stupid into the water. But like anything, it wears off, and boy is it ever. President Donald Trump began it all with a surge of popularity, unprecedented for him. But then, adios. Trump's net favorability and net approval, meaning the difference between the share with a positive view and the share with a negative one, were higher than they ever were during his first term as El Presidente. But the latest Economist YouGov polls since then have shown Trump's approval rating and personal popularity both falling like it's pasty fat when he unhooks his man girdle. Over the past 2 weeks, Trump's disapproval rate has climbed to 48%, and Americans are less likely to view him favorably, 46%, than unfavorably, 52%. But here's the kicker. A new Economist poll shows Trump's net favorability among 18 to 29-year-olds is down 18 from a positive 19 at the election. That's a whopping 37-point drop. And it gets worse. 2 weeks ago, 50% of adults under 30 had a favorable opinion of Trump today. That's down 11 points. And 57% have an unfavorable opinion. And adults from 30 to 44 is also fallen, from 55% favorable to 42. That's another 13-point drop. Now, for most of us, it's like, no, duh. But what Trump has managed to do the last month, it's remarkable. It's a wet fart on a first date. Let's remember that Trump won the election by the lowest percentage in modern history, and more than 100 million people didn't even vote. And as they watch President Musk attack teachers, disabled kids, and your grandparents, Americans are wondering, has Trump truly lost it? Now imagine if you're a Trump backer, what with all that macho talk about kicking ass and taking names, and you see this. Musk stands before reporters, and while his kid picks his nose and wipes it on the desk, Elon says Trump got his facts wrong.
Condoms was sent there. Yeah. And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000.
And while Trump's skid builds momentum, his cabinet picks look like a who's who of what? Hegseth is talking about making cuts in the military, but not the bloated government contracts, but instead women and LGBT who have served honorably. And while this alcoholic molester with a white supremacist background proceeds to talk about ceding the land in Ukraine to Russia, people are asking themselves, how did this happen? But before they can answer, there's Tulsi Gabbard and the chicken shit Republicans voting her into the top intelligence post despite her love affair with foreign dictators.
Tulsi Gabbard, what are your thoughts this morning?
Well, I thought it was the worst cabinet level appointment in history. Really, my reaction was that this is like the legend of Caligula, the Roman emperor. who wanted to nominate his horse as a Roman consul.
And then RFK Jr., who's still talking about the possibility of vaccines causing autism and death, even lifting mandates that kids get vaccinated for school. I think that Trump's numbers reflect a lot of stupid, but young people, that 37-point drop might have something to do with this.
You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there, redevelopment? And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel and to have a longer peace, even though the Israeli people know how important that land is to you and your citizens, just as the space is inherited by the Palestinians as well?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
Now, a lot of people like Bill Maher mock young people with their heads deep in their phones, but young people are seeing the despair in Gaza. And regardless of which side you are on, listening to Tiny Fingers talk about clearing out Gaza and turning it into a resort.
Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is not a joke.
Well, the disgust is deep, and it reminds me of Occupy Wall Street after the Great Recession. Young people are struggling to pay down college debt, while we give Musk tens of millions so he can blow up rockets and cut services like student debt. And at Trump's inauguration, after listening to Fatso talk for months about Biden's inflation and the price of eggs, did you see who was next to Trump? The tech bro billionaires? Trump's first acts aren't about deporting undocumented people. To that point, Biden deported more people in his first month than the orange bigot has. Young people, all people really, are getting the message. And the message is this: the Democrats were right about this guy. As Trump surrounds himself with his tech bra billionaires and plays footsie with a mass murderer, Donnie's numbers reflect America's incredulity. And for the rest of us who've seen this obscenity clear and without hesitation as a danger to our democracy, well, we welcome this change. Even staggering Mitch McConnell, who was the only no vote to Kennedy and Gabbard, is welcome to this new world. But here's the question.
Okay, any comments on that? Yeah, like I said, he was flying high lungs until he got in the White House, and now what his objective was is being exposed, and nobody likes it. Right?
Shalom. I'm sorry, Brother Lynn.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was thinking, why would them Republicans sit back and not do anything? I'm coming up with they've been offered at least $100 million, and they rob everything, and then they out.
Well, yeah. Ain't that what they did in 2008? With the bailouts?
Yes, sir. But all the Republicans wasn't on board like they are now. I said, these people here, I said at least 10 million ain't gonna be enough. I think all of them gonna get $100 million to not do nothing, and they know they ain't gonna be reelected, but there's gonna be nothing to be reelected to.
Exactly. That's the whole objective is the system that's in place. Before he came in there, they were seeing that blacks was rising in that system. So they want to discontinue that system. They want to cut it out. That's what that Make America is all about. But it's going to be detrimental to them. What they're doing is going to backfire. It's already backfiring.
Yes, sir. And by them hurting us, they're hurting their own, and it's going to be riots in the street, and there won't be no blacks up in that.
Right. Exactly. That's how our Savior, how our Redeemer operated. When you look in the past, he do that. That's how he do. He comes in and stirs up internal chaos. Next thing you know, the people they upside down, and the Israelites on their way out. That's how he operates. Okay. Anybody else got anything before I start reading? Now I'm gonna read chapter 20 out of second book of Adam and Eve. I'm bouncing off this morning. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
So I'm in chapter 20. It says, after Cain had gone down to the land of dark soil, and his children had multiplied, there was one of them whose name was Tubal Cain, son of Lamech the blind, who slew Cain. Satan came to Tubal Cain in his childhood and made a variety of trumpets and horns, stringed instruments, cymbals, pastries, lyres, harps, flutes, and Tubal Cain played them at all times, at every hour. And when he played them, Satan came to them, so that from among them were heard beautiful and sweet sounds that seized the heart with delight. Then he gathered many crowds to play on them, and when they played, it greatly pleased the children of Cain, who fanned themselves to flames of sin among themselves, and they burned with fire, while Satan inflamed their hearts with one another, and lust increased among them. Satan also taught Tubal to make strong drink out of corn. Tubal used this to bring together crowds upon crowds in houses of drink, and brought into their hands all kinds of fruits and flowers, and they drank together. And Tubal did this to multiply sin greatly. He also acted with pride, and he taught the children of Cain to commit all manner of gross wickedness, which they did not know until then, and he put them up to all kinds of deeds, which they did not know before. Then, when Satan saw that they obeyed Tubal and listened to him and everything he told them, he rejoiced greatly, and he increased Tubal's understanding until he took iron, and with it he made weapons of war. I showed you how that Satan is the title. It's the name behind Satan, and in this instant right here is Azazel. 8. Then when they were drunk, hatred and murder increased among them. One man used violence against another, and Satan would teach him evil in that one man would take another man's children and defile them before him. And when men saw they were vanquished and saw that others were not beaten, those who were beaten came to Tubal and took refuge with him, and he made them part of his group. Then sin increased among them greatly, until a man married his own sister, or daughter, or mother, and other, or the daughter of his father's sister, his first cousin, so that there was no more distinction of relationship, and they could no longer discern what was sin and what was not, but always were wicked, and the earth was defiled with sin, and they angered God, the judge. Like we know who the judge is, Lord of hosts, who had created them, and Tubal Cain gathered together groups and groups that played on horns and on all of other instruments we have already mentioned at the foot of the holy mountain. And they did this that so the children of Seth who were on the holy mountain would hear it. They're on a plateau. Keep that in mind. They're on a plateau looking down. 12. But when the children of Seth heard the noise, they wondered and came by companies and stood on the top of the mountain to look at those below. This went on an entire year. And at the end of the year, Tubal saw that they were being won over to him little by little. Satan entered into him. So that Satan entered into him. So this one of the abilities these angels have. The righteous ones and the wicked ones. They're able to enter into us, right? And taught him to make the elements for dyeing garments of various patterns, and made him understand how dyed crimson and purple and whatnot. Okay, and the sons of Cain who worked at all of this shone in beauty and glorious apparel, and they gathered together at the foot of the mountain in splendor, with horns and gorgeous dresses and horse races and these the Greeks, and they were committing all manner of disgusting acts. Meanwhile, the children of Seth, who were on the holy mountain, prayed and praised God in the place of the host of angels who had fallen. God had called them angels because he rejoiced over them greatly. But after this time, they no longer kept his commandments, nor were held by the promise he had made to their fathers. But they relaxed from their fasting and praying and from the counsel of Jared, their father. And they kept on gathering together on the top of the mountain to watch the children of Cain from morning until evening. And they watched what they did, and they looked at their beautiful dresses and ornaments. Right? Then the children of Cain looked up from below and saw the children of Seth standing in number on the top of the mountain, and they called to them to come down to them. But from above them, the children of Seth said, we don't know the way. Then Tubal-Cain, the son of Lamech, heard them say they did not know the way, and he began to think to himself of ways he might bring them down. Then Satan appeared unto him by night, saying, There is no way for them to come down from the part of the mountain on which they live, but when they come out tomorrow to watch, say to them, Come to the western side of the mountain. There you will find a stream of water that comes down to the foot of the mountain between two hills. That marks the way. Come down at that way to us. Then when it was day, go in, blew the horns, and beat the drums below the mountain, as he was accustomed to do. And the children of Seth heard it and came as they used to do. Then Tubal said unto them from down below, Go to the western side of the mountain. There you will find a way to come down. But when the children of Seth heard these words from him, they went back into the cave to Jared to tell him all they had heard. Then when Jared heard it, he was grieved because he knew that they would defy his wishes. And after this, 100 men of the children of Seth gathered together and said among themselves, Come, let us go down to the children of Cain and see what they do and enjoy ourselves with them. But when Jared heard this of the 100 men, his very soul was moved and his heart was grieved. He then stood with great emotion in the middle of them and earnestly compelled them by the blood of Abel the just and said, Let no one of you go down from this holy mountain, from this holy and pure mountain in which our fathers have ordered us to live. But when Jared saw that they did not listen to his words, he said to them, May good, innocent, and holy children, you must understand that once you go down from this holy mountain, God will not allow you to return to it again. Okay? He began to adjure them, saying, I plead with you by the death of our father Adam, and by the blood of Abel, of Seth, Enos, and of Canaan, and of Mahalalel, to listen to me. Do not go down from this mountain, this holy mountain, because the moment you leave it, life and mercy will be taken from you, and you shall no longer be called the children of God, but the children of the devil. But they would not listen to his words. Enoch was already grown up at that time, and in his zeal for the Lord, he stood and said, Hear me, you large and small, young and old, sons of Seth, when you transgress the commandments of our Father and go down from this holy mountain, you shall not come up here again forever. But they rose up against Enoch and would not listen to his words, but they went down from the holy mountain. And when they looked at the daughters of Cain, at their beautiful figures, and at their hands and feet dyed with colors and the tattoos on their faces that ornamented them, the fire of sin was set ablaze in them. Then Satan made them look most beautiful before the sons of Seth, as he also made the sons of Seth appearing the most handsome in the eyes of the daughters of Cain. So the children of Cain lusted after the sons of Seth, like ravenous beasts, and the sons of Seth lusted after the daughters of Cain until they committed disgusting and disgraceful acts with them. But as they had fallen into the defilement, they returned by the way they had come and tried to ascend the holy mountain, but they could not, because the stones of that holy mountain were on fire, flashing before them and prevented them so that they could not go up again. And God was angry with them and turned from them because they had come down from glory, and because of this had lost and forsaken their own purity and innocence and were fallen into defilement of sin. Then God sent his word to Jared, saying, These of your children, whom you once called my children, have broken my commandment and have gone to the house of damnation and sin, sending messages to those that are left so that they will not go down and be lost. Then Jared wept before the Lord and asked him for mercy and forgiveness, but he wished that his soul might depart from his body rather than to hear these words from God about his children that went down from the holy mountain. But he followed God's orders and preached to them not to go down from the holy mountain and not to hold relations with the children of Cain. But they did not listen to his message, and they would not obey his advice. And after this, another group gathered together and went to look after their brothers, but they perished with them as well, and so it was. Okay, company after company, until only a few of them remained. Then Jared was sickened with grief, and his sickness was such that the day of his death was near. Then he called Enoch, his eldest son, and Methuselah, Enoch's son, and Lamech, and the sons of Methuselah, and Noah, the son of Lamech. And when they came to him, he prayed over them and blessed them and said to them, Ye are righteous, innocent sons. Do not go down from this mountain, because you have seen your children and your children's children have gone down from this mountain and have all alienated themselves from this holy mountain through their reprehensive lust and transgression of God's commandment. But I know through the power of God that he will not leave you on this holy mountain. The children have transgressed his commandments and that of our fathers, which we had received from them. But my sons, God will take you to a strange land and you never shall return to see this garden and this holy mountain with your God, with your own eyes once again. Therefore, my son, set your hearts on your own selves and keep the commandments of God, which is with you. And when you go from this holy mountain into the strange land, which you do know, take the body of our father Adam with you, and with it take these three precious gifts of offering, namely the gold, the incense, and the myrrh, and let them be in the place where the bodies of our father Abel shall lay. Okay? And my son, of you who were left, the word of God will come, and when he goes out of this land, he will take with him the body of our father Adam, and shall lay it in the middle of the earth, place in which salvation shall come. That's Ezekiel 37, right? 9. Then Noah said to him, Who is he of us that shall be left? And Jared answered, You are he that shall be left, and you shall take the father Adam from the cave, place it with you in the ark when the food comes, and your son's Shem, who shall come out of your loins, it is he who shall lay the body of our father Adam in the middle of the earth, in the place where salvation shall come. Then Jared turned to his son Enoch and said to him, My son, hide in this cave and minister diligently before the body of our father Adam and all the days of your life, and feed your people in righteousness and innocence. And Jared said no more. His hands went limp, and his eyes closed, and he entered into the rest like his fathers. His death took place in the 360th year of Noah, in the 989th year of his own life, on the 12th of Chikas on Friday. Okay, but as for Jared died, chills streamed down from his face by reason of his great sorrow for the children of Seth who had fallen in his days. Then Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah, these four wept over him, embalmed him carefully, and then laid him in the cave of treasures. Then they rose and mourned for him 40 days. And when the days of mourning were ended, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah remained in sorrow of heart because their fathers had departed from him and could not see him again. Okay. That was chapter 20. I read 20 and 21. Anybody got any comments or questions on what I read? Anything stand out?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. In chapter 21, it didn't mention Ham and Japhet. When in 21 verse of 11, it just says, "In your son Shem, who shall come out of your loins."
Exactly right. Yeah, this, like it did this morning. So Shem is the one, is Noah's son. When you write it divided, but they don't want you to know that. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Anybody got a scripture they want to bring out? Okay. Nobody having a scripture, so we got our Sunday advanced Bible study tomorrow at 5. So I'll see everybody then for those that want to join. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Shalom, everyone.
Okay.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.